Hello and welcome to the Third Space Podcast. This is Bennett bringing you episode 46, which is currently untitled, but the title will be there by the time you listen to this. This is our first episode where we are trying to stick to an abbreviated runtime. So we're trying to keep it under an hour. Target 45 minutes. This time we went a little long, so we're about an hour, but that's okay. Also, this episode we are beginning to add a jingle before every episode, and not the one that Daniel sings, but an AI generated musical jingle. And I would really like to have some vocals in there too. So we'll see how that turns out. Every episode is going to be a different jingle. So take it away, AI.
Third Space Podcast, Third Space Podcast, Third Space Podcast, Third Space Podcast.
It's a podcast called Third Space. Yay.
Yay. I'm not going to contribute to that.
You just wouldn't give me much. You gave me the yay. That's all I needed.
So we're trying out a new shorter format this time, right?
Yeah, I like it. So we gotta get just as much content into 45 minutes or so. So let's talk a lot faster.
Yeah, we're not going to get as much content. We're not going to get as much content in, but I think we can still and are going to try to do, kind of our recurring segments that are a lot of fun, and then some discussion topics too. We're going to try to keep the same quality, maybe be less long-winded.
I think that devotion to a regular podcast is more important. Like, it's a part of my day, and I'm going to fold it into my life instead of being this thing that I like having done, but becomes this sort of, oh man, I don't know if I have time for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon of Sunday or when we tend to record. It's just like, hey, let's just do this. Let's go. Like, let's make this part of our life and fold it in. And so I think it's going to be, for me, a more joyful, a more intentional devotion, actually. So even though it's shorter, I think we'll end up, covering more things, having more content, and that kind of thing.
I think so too. A weekly 45-minute podcast will give us more monthly content than we were having, doing one a month.
Yes.
So let's jump right in. You want to do a Superpowers and Drawbacks, one of our classics?
I like that idea. Let's do it.
All right, this time I've got a level 3 Superpowers and Drawbacks prepared for you.
Ooh, that's
so,
not a 4, but not a 2.
Also not a 2. It's right in between there. All right, so for the superpowers, the first one I have up for you, and I know that you're really going to like this one. It's called Super Pooper. So this superpower is you only have to poop once a month. Poop is magically...
Super duper. That sounds super duper.
Oh! So the way this works is the poop is magically stored inside you. Without pain, without distension, there are no adverse health effects, so it's just total magic. The only thing to note with the superpower is that all of that magically stored poop still has to come out at the end of the month. So, if you store it up for a month, then you're gonna, it's just gonna be an interesting time on the 30th or the 31st of the month or whatever.
Is my stomach going to be distended?
No, that's what I said. There's no pain or distension.
No pain, but I didn't hear the distension.
Yeah, no distension, so he's not going to be bloated or anything like that. It's just going to feel totally normal. Now, you can poop more often if you want to. You don't have to wait the full 30 days or the full month, but that is your superpower.
Because anyone who knows me, and I'm comfortable saying, I spend a lot of time in the restroom, and that part of that is joyful. It's my escape from the world. What I mean is that we're always on call. We're always on call. Like, we're always expected, or even this might sound strange, but there's some slight guilt of opportunity cost when I'm working on one thing or when I'm engaging in one thing. I could be doing another and all of that. But when you're pooping, you're pooping. Like, leave me alone. And so everything, like, whether it's yes, I scroll on my phone or play games and stuff, and that is bonus, and it's leave me alone. And so these little mini vacations. And so it's interesting, if you were to take the need away, then would I take the mini vacations less, or would I find them in different ways? But certainly just there's something to be said for, you're talking about being ultimately regular, and it's only once a month, and Yeah, that's interesting. I'll sit with that. And I said sit because this is a clean podcast.
Yeah,
Sort of. I don't know.
sort
We
of.
don't really have like a. Are we
Sometimes.
clean? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've dropped the F-bomb a couple times.
Have we?
Yeah, but
Or
not
you or
not
me?
often.
Me, probably me.
Yeah, I censored my rap episode pretty heavily. All you ginges know it. All right, the second superpower up against Super Pooper is called MS Paint IRL. So for this one, by placing your hand flat against an object, you can change its color to a color or a basic tiled pattern of your choosing. So you can just completely recolor things. You can only do it one time per object, but you can basically recolor anything the way you want it.
IRL must stand for I really like, because that's something I like that idea. Gosh. Well, am I having to brand each?
Oh man, yeah. Super duper. I really like it. You're really going for broke on the
I was so excited about saying it that I
witticisms.
didn't fully listen to you.
Do you need me to?
Oh,
Do you need me to repeat it for you?
no, I think you said that I can change the color of things in real life, obviously.
Yes.
Like by, and what else? What else though?
Yeah.
Is that all
You put your hand on a thing. You can change its color to a color or a basic tiled pattern. Basically,
But
the quality of Microsoft Paint. You can only do it one time per object.
One time per object. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a texture thing. I'm not drawing in some three-dimensional space that becomes like I'm creating nothing like that. Just
Nope.
changing colors.
Yep. You get tired of the color of your car. Put your hand on it, and you can change it. So you can
Why
basically
the
give your
one-time limitation? I want to be able to change paint
No.
my walls. And
because
stuff.
it's at level 3.
Okay. You're right.
You
If I
can
just
paint your
like,
walls. You can paint your walls
once.
once.
I could paint my car once. I can, and that would
You
keep
could-
that
you
texture,
could-
right? The shininess of my
Yeah.
car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You could start
Okay.
a business and paint people's cars, right? So I mean,
That's-
I just
yeah,
don't want to.
that's-
I don't want to undersell it here. Like if
No
you could,
repeat customers though.
well, not with the same car.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so you got the superpowers. They're pretty good. Level 3. But in order to take one of those, you also have to take one of the following 2 drawbacks. The first is called Inverse Bloodhound. Now, for this one, your nose can only detect 30 smells. That's it, just 30. And you can choose the smells before taking this drawback, but once they're chosen, that's all. Your nose can only detect those 30 smells, and that's it.
Oh man. You say 30, and it sounds like a decent amount, right? But it's certainly not. I'm curious if I just said how many smells do I smell a day?
Oh, yeah.
Some of those numbers that you really, some part of you is saying, oh, like Google's gonna tell me that it's 200,000 or 3 million
Right.
smells a day. You know what I mean? And so 30 is nothing in that context. But the real answer, like in terms of applicable, I would say maybe I'm engaged in, on an average day, in usable terms, like 15 or something
Right.
like that.
Yep.
And then I would have to decide the dangerous ones. I need to know if there's a gas leak, and isn't gas odorless, but they've added a smell because it is dangerous.
That's right.
I've heard that.
It's supposed to smell like rotten eggs, apparently.
Yeah. So, but I would have to go and say, like, I need to smell things like, like poop and death and bad things smell bad because we're wired. So unfortunately, I'd probably need to give up some of my 30 to bad smells, like garbage. Would that count as a smell, garbage, or would I have to say like rotten chicken, and then rotten? If I wanted to smell beef, I'd have to do another one. Or you
No,
just say
we'll just
garbage is fine.
Garbage is fine. Yeah.
Okay. And if I said fruit, or pies, or do I have to say
No, that's
like,
not good enough.
Okay. I wonder how many would be food smell oriented. And honestly, I've thought, like, if I lost my sense of smell, they say that's tied to your taste. But I also wonder if it'd be easier to eat healthy if I gave up smell, because if food just was sort of bland after
Could be.
that, then
I'm
great.
for the sake of this drawback, it doesn't affect your taste at all.
Yeah.
It's just
okay.
smell. Got it? You got that one?
Yeah, I understand it. I'm just wrestling with it. But yeah, I
If
got
yeah,
it.
if when you get to thinking more, and if you decide to choose this, then I want to pin you down on some of the smells. You don't have to go through all
Yeah,
30 of them, but
yeah.
all right. The other potential drawback is called slow startup, and for this one, all electronic or mechanical devices that you use take 1 minute to start up. So some examples of things that you have to turn on and start and then wait 1 minute before you use your electric toothbrush, your car ignition, your ceiling fan, your TV, things of that.
Sending a text, right?
No,
Like,
so
no.
this doesn't include your
Oh,
phone after the initial startup. So once it's on, it's on.
okay.
Light switches, no, I'm not going to do that. Simple
Light
mechanical
switches.
devices like scissors, technically those are mechanical devices, but yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I
So
wouldn't quite. Yeah.
yeah, but I hope you get the gist of this. Any kind of electric device or little mechanical device, you have to wait 1 minute for it to actually start functioning.
What about my like key fob activator to like or
That's a good question.
cars
It's a
and
good question, but so
stuff like this?
car ignition is one you have to wait 1 minute. You
Okay.
turn your key or press the button or whatever, and it goes ring, 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 ring for a minute or something. Just imagine that.
And
Without like mechanical problems, it's not like burning out your alternator or anything. For your key fob, that doesn't have any moving parts. It's technically electronic, but like it's kind of, it generates an electric field or whatever. So I'm gonna say that does not. You don't turn it on. It's just not there. It's just a thing that exists.
I have two thoughts. One's a question.
Uh-huh.
So I'll start with a thought that leads to the question. There's a at work at there's a copier, and if no one has used it in a while, I guess it goes into some sort of sleep mode, and then when you click print, it says warming up, and
Yeah.
it'll say, and it takes 3 minutes to warm up, and it's a big machine, and it actually prints. It's the best printer, knock on wood, or copier, or like that I've ever. It works. It spits out copies fast, and they're pretty good.
But someone played Superpowers and Drawbacks before they bought it, and
Yeah, why am I?
used
What
the
am I
drawback
waiting
line.
on? Like, what's it doing? Like, it's not. Is it this massive? It's not. It's just a printer. Like, and it's like sitting there for 3 minutes, and I don't hear a lot of whirring, or it's just like 3 minutes, and you see the little digital display. And I'm here to tell you that the 3 minutes is a lifetime.
Oh yeah, it's a
I
long
just
time.
don't wait in the room anymore. I just go, well, I'll come back. Like screw that. Because sitting there for 3 minutes, I swear it must be longer. So I'm trying to say that my mental, like 1 minute every time on these things that we have become accustomed to automatically working, turning on the TV, launching Netflix. Well, I mean, I guess Netflix, once it's on,
Yeah,
yeah, where does Netflix fall on that? It's like
yeah,
the TV takes a minute to turn on, but the
it's the
Netflix
TV. Yeah, the Netflix is whatever its normal load up time
yeah.
is.
But I'm saying that a minute when you're used to instant is an eternity in terms of annoyance. Not,
Yes.
And so my question about that machine, the copier, does it now go faster? Does it actually only take a minute?
No. Well,
Okay, this
well,
can't
all
work
right.
in my
So
favor, right? I can't go to things that take an hour to warm up, like
no.
that are now faster.
Yeah,
You
it
know what I
takes
mean?
1 minute longer.
Okay,
Yeah,
one minute longer.
I don't know how that copy machine works.
It's already on,
I didn't
I guess.
consider sleep modes, but that's a cop out. Sleep modes fall into this too. You have to wait a minute for it to, wake up from a
Yeah.
sleep
That
mode.
makes me my screen when I'm working on a computer, and if I would probably just make sure I change the setting. But if it like I think I have a 15-minute or so setting, but I would just change it. That's not a big deal. Okay, let me kind of go over this super pooper, once a month pooping, and my knee jerk reactions. I kind of gave them to you. Like what happens to my getaways. I will get away from the world. I think we all like that's just built in. So that it's weird that that's my first thought is almost like, oh no.
Yeah, this is. I didn't anticipate it being a drawback for you. I thought it would be wonderful.
No, yeah. You even said I know you're gonna like this, and yet my sincere reaction was, huh. But also that could be like I have a lot of inconvenient poops. There's no doubt about that. And eliminating that would be great. I have so thoroughly accepted it as part of my life that I don't like the idea of like I haven't even explored this idea of like how much time. Like, would I gain some non-negligible portion of the day back?
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
It would be like those people who have never been able to see and then all of a sudden they get like contact lenses or that
exactly
special
like
like
that.
cyber surgery on their eyes and they can all of a sudden see again. That's how it would be for you.
Sight is a 3 on the superpower scale, apparently.
Yeah.
But really, the time back is pretty great. Microsoft Paint IRL or MS Paint IRL is pretty cool. So I didn't really think about that as much. I don't care about I care about aesthetics a lot, but I'm not a sucker or interested in like for some reason tech devices. What color do you want your computer to be or your iPhone? Like, do not care. In fact, I just want a black one. So maybe I care a little. I'd almost prefer. That's a lie. They had a dark green that looked pretty good, but they marketed the heck out of it and made it look sleek in all these commercials. But when it came time to get the phone, my dad's like, "What color do you want?" And it worked. I said green, but if they had said, "Oh, sorry, it's only black," I mean, I would have not cared. Like he could have just not asked me basically and got me whatever color. Unless
Yeah,
I guess
I
I
feel
would
the same way.
dislike purple or something. But even then, I wouldn't care that much.
I just got a new phone a couple months ago and I just said I'll have a black one, but they didn't have the black one in the particular configuration that I wanted, and so I was like, okay, just give me the blue one. Like it just, I don't care.
Yeah,
It
just
doesn't
give me
matter.
one.
I put a case on it anyway, so you don't see the actual thing.
Right.
So they could have given me the pink one.
There
Whatever.
are people that care and get upset or just say no, I'll wait a month or something or whatever. It's that kind of I don't identify with that. I don't like who cares? And plus, yeah, you put a case on. I put a clear case. I actually bought a clear case, which they don't even look that good when they're clear cases anyway, so I can see the green. But that was. I mean, it's sounding like I care, but since I asked for green, then I felt like, well, if I get a case, then this is stupid. So I might as well just get a clear one. But it was low level thought. It was not like
Right.
super. Anyway, so I don't care about that. I do care about aesthetics. If the power were to change, it would change. If I could do it over and over, I'd be changing my room up a lot and all sorts of things, and I'd have a blast with that. But it'd probably be so tempting. You'd have to move it up probably a full point, if not 2 points.
Oh yeah.
So once, then I can entertain like a job on the side. Also, it's instantaneous, right? That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So I could be a traveling car painter and probably make a good living. You know what? Like
Dude,
that alone.
you could prank people. I mean, think about how this.
Oh, yeah.
If there's someone you don't like, you can like make their car, neon pink or something.
Yeah, and then they just have it that way, and I can't even undo it. Like,
No, they would have to. They would have to go get like an actual wrap or paint job or something. So I mean, you could be a villain with a superpower. You could be a super villain.
And this could work on like a skyscraper building. I could go up and say, "Boom! It's pink," or some outrageous color, right? Like I've really created a.
Yeah. So
right.
So I would say this. I said you lay your hand flat against an object, and I don't know that I would consider a skyscraper an object. It's more like
maybe the panel, like as far as it might be,
right.
Like,
yeah.
might be a pretty big
So
panel.
the way I envision it, I call it MS Paint IRL, and so this is kind of like the flood fill. The little the tool you click on a thing and it flood fills the whole thing.
When there's a little
sometimes there's a little line, right? Exactly, and so it's buggy and kind of annoying. The power can be like that. It's kind of annoying. Now what you would have to do is go touch the section that it didn't quite fill in and do that. So there's some touch up that you might have to do.
So I wouldn't make mistakes as much as I would just have to do extra work to like
well,
maybe the
sometimes
inside of the door of the car.
You know how in Microsoft Paint, like sometimes you'll try to be filling in a little circle, but you won't realize there's a little gap in the circle, and it'll color everything all of a sudden, and you're like, oh crap. But this power doesn't include Control Z, so you can't undo it. So there's some danger involved here.
Does this work on people?
If you consider people objects, so yeah, on women at least. Just kidding. Just a joke. I couldn't resist. I'm gonna say that actually, yes, it does work. Like your skin is one organ that covers your body, so you could change your skin color. Hair, though, is not one continuous thing, so you'd have to do it for all your hairs, so that could get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Like your fingernails, I suppose, would work.
Also interesting about that, the hair. Like I decide I want it. Like let's say I'm going gray, and I just said I want it brown, and I've done my hair brown. Like, is my hair now brown indefinitely, or do those hairs fall out and gray's replaced and whatever?
So
I've
yeah,
basically dyed my hair.
the way I imagine it is, you're doing each individual hair, and those hairs do fall out and regenerate. So I'm gonna say that you could do it repeatedly for that.
Yeah.
That's although I guess technically you could say that your skin cells are doing the same thing, but that to me seems like a cop out. You can't change your skin color indefinitely, so I'm not gonna allow that.
Yeah. Change your skin color. If you could do it multiple times too, it'd just be interesting. Anyway, and then I like the name Inverse Bloodhound. 30 cents. Doesn't sound that bad, honestly. 30's doesn't sound like a low number, at least my knee-jerk reaction. All right, you're giving me 30 cents.
It depends on how valuable you think your sense of smell is. That's all.
How bad will my memory get? Because
that's what they say. Yeah, you won't be able to remember your childhood.
yeah, exactly. It just doesn't. Maybe it's something because I have it. I don't value it as much as I would once it's gone. But if you had to give up 1 cent, there's no doubt it'd be smell. There's just no doubt. Anyone saying otherwise, I just find that disingenuous. Mm-hmm. So, it just seems like it's it's lowly too, like sight and touch and hearing, and these are important, and tasting things, but smell seems like it's a little additive, it's like a little flair. It's good. It's nice to have, and it can, alert you if there's a fire, so that, by the way, I'd add fire. So the bad ones that I'd add, or not for pleasure, I guess, would be, well, fire's pleasant too, but I need to know the fire, and I need, I'm gonna debate garbage for a second. It seems like decay and gross, if you're allowing that sort of dead animal and garbage, kind of just discarded rough stuff. If we would throw it in a trash can, that's garbage. I don't want to debate each piece of garbage.
What about body odor?
I would definitely choose that. And I guess, is that everyone's, including myself?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be, because I did the body odor experiment, and you can have all kinds of different body odors, even from yourself.
I just need to know for the
for yourself, right?
Reasons, basically. I just need that, so that's definitely going in there. Yeah.
What about bad breath?
That one, I might just not deal with, and then be
just
almost
skip.
A plus. Skip it, because when I do smell people's bad breath, I don't comment on it anyway. I don't mind telling Danielle or something, but it's not like she has bad breath, so I'm not picking on her really. But I would just go, you ate onions or something. I don't know.
Right. I was just thinking, for yourself, body odor.
Then the difference is I'm just going to I do brush my teeth regularly and all of that, and there might be times that I could get feedback from Danielle and all that, but I don't know. I think people don't smell it on themselves that easily anyway, so there's not that risk, and I'm just going to practice good hygiene, oral hygiene. So
what about fresh oak and charred whatever body soap or whatever you like to use?
So a cologne, my favorite cologne. I think I would, instead of all the joy I have of different colognes and going for instance, I'm really into Tonka, the smell of Tonka.
Oh yeah, those toy trucks.
Yeah.
I used to love those as a kid. Your childhood, the smells of childhood, right? That's what you're talking about.
But I would have to land on this is my scent profile that I like and I enjoy, and I would probably. Well, that's another point. Would you just the cologne / body wash lotion smell? It's this branded smell, just just let me have that like smell as a smell. Like it doesn't matter if it's in the lotion form or whatever. It's the smell.
Yeah.
And so I would take that. Yes, I would, but I'd only do one because I really want to like make sure I can smell the most things.
Yeah. So, all right. So yeah, one kind of perfumey type smell.
Yeah, cologne.
Every would basically all the other, and then your couple of bad smell. Fire, smoke, and body odor. Those are kind of your bad and garbage too. Okay, so those are your bad smells.
I think I would because I need to know when to take the garbage out. That's a big indicator of like, or this place needs to be cleaned.
Does that really does that really factor in to your 30 smells? Like you can't look at your garbage can and see that it needs to be taken out, or just take it out.
When it's full, I take it out when it's full. But like sometimes it's like, we put in some chicken or something. And it needs to go.
I understand that, but like this is, you only get 30 smells, and you could alter your behavior a little bit and just take out the trash maybe a little bit more than you normally would, and now you have a whole, now you're not wasting that one of your precious 30 smells.
This is a weird thing, but like I need to know if a room just smells bad. And
why?
So you might not let me get it. Well, for a home, if I'm having guests or
just ask Danielle. Just say, hey, does this room smell bad?
It just seems like when I'm alert, if the room if there's like a dead animal or if it's off and dirty, like when I walk in and if it's like not right, then like I want to correct it, and so there's something unnerving about like teaching in a classroom where like it's just bad smelling and not knowing, or having a party and it just is wrong. Like
how often do you have parties with dead animals in the room?
Yeah, I guess it's not that big of a deal. It just feels important.
Hey, all right, this is your drawback, man.
You get not challenging me in a good way.
You get to choose, man. You get to choose them. So go for it.
You know what? Maybe I don't need it. Just ask someone else. Hey, be honest. I could have like some smell truth people. Like they're my people.
Right.
Hey, you gotta tell me. Like, because I want to save a lot for food. After we've checked those off, then do you have more to add? Like?
No, that's what I was wondering. How much was going to be devoted to food.
So I feel like the lion's share is going to go to food. I also want to make sure though, like, is there something to be said for like a rainy day? Or,
yeah, maybe.
Or some fresh plants / flower, like nature.
Soil,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like the smell of like walking through the woods after a rain is so like. There's something cool about that, or like
gasoline,
with, like, campfire. I don't really need gasoline, honestly.
Oh, okay.
I don't need that smell or exhaust or stuff like that.
What about the Nintendo GameCube inside of it? Do you remember how good that used to smell?
Yeah, the GameCube games are.
Man, that used to smell so good.
Who
knows?
Smell that way, or did
no,
they go away? Did you get access to like an old one? Did they lose
a GameCube?
Yeah, if you opened up a GameCube game right now, would they smell like that, or would they like have? Is it like, did they treat it with maybe an anti-scratch oil or film that's the
Hang on, I have one nearby. I'm gonna check.
Do you actually? I really want to know.
Yeah. Give me just a few seconds.
We remarked on that for years. Yeah, I'll just kill the dead
air.
Yeah,
just
we remarked on this when we were kids, how remarkably good they'd smell, and maybe, and I'll ask you this if you can hear me later, but like, if you played the game more and took it out after you'd been playing it for a few hours, would it smell stronger? I have here in my hands F-Zero GX. Excellent, one of the best racing games of all time. So this is probably what year? Like, how old is this game?
I don't know, like 2003 or 4 or 5, something like that. 2003, it says. All right, here we go.
20-year-old game right here. Thanks for the audio.
I don't really smell anything.
Really?
So yeah.
So like it has the scent has gone away. So I definitely don't need to choose it. So you know what? I'm not gonna choose that.
Oh, that's really sad.
You know that's like a lost smell, maybe. Like
it is. It might actually be a lost smell.
Because I know it was very pleasant, but I can't tell you what it smelled like, or like it would. I would know it when I smelled it. I think, but I can't even tell you. Oh, it was a little bit floral. Like no, I couldn't tell you. It was very electronic.
It wasn't floral.
Like
yeah, it was.
It wasn't floral. It was a bad example. But I could not. It's not just. I both lack the words to describe it, but I also like don't remember clearly. I just remember that it was very pleasant.
I remember it. I would remember it if I smelled it again.
Would you describe it as like uniquely electronic?
I mean, what does that mean? What is an electronic smell?
Old when I think of electronics, but smells, I actually think of
I mean,
like
it smells.
toys or cheap keyboards
Yeah,
that like
it's
the wire
yeah,
gets a
yeah.
little like
It's some kind of
overheated.
lubricant or oil or something like that. That's what it was, I think,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it smelled
You
so
just buy
good.
that oil and like use it as a body oil.
Oh man, yeah, that would be great.
Anyway,
You
enough
go
of
on a date. Oh,
laundry.
you smell like F-Zero GX. You want to go back to my place?
And speed.
That would never happen.
Yeah.
That would never happen. F-Zero GX is criminally underrated.
I've been watching. That's gaining some momentum in the retro gaming community because now retro gaming is starting to branch into N64 and then even into GameCube era stuff. So, but like that, some of those F-Zero games
Oh man,
up to the GameCube era are amazing.
I never played the N64 one, but apparently it was really good. That was F-Zero X. Apparently it was great. It had a track editor, I think, which is really cool sounding. I'd never played it.
Oh, I watched a video recently that touted. I think the one you're saying was it the only one on the GameCube or were there a couple?
The only one on the GameCube was F-Zero GX. That was the last F-Zero game that has been made.
Oh,
They
I
haven't.
think he said it was amazing.
It's so good.
Speed,
It's
really,
so
yeah.
good. The graphics are great for what it is. It has a ton of racers. Super fun. Very hard. Very, very hard. Especially the campaign mode. Extremely hard.
Surprisingly hard for a game. Yeah.
Oh, just monstrously difficult. But man, very fun. Excellent game. Top tier.
So so back to Superpowers and Drawbacks.
We're doing a terrible job at staying on task for our shortened schedule.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to look. The slow startup is super annoying. I think I always start with the ifs, and then I would go to would I take it. So if I were to take it, the slow startup's going to drive me crazy. I'm choosing the inverse bloodhound. I think I can get enough in there, and then I think I'm choosing the Microsoft Paint in real life, and I'm really gonna exploit the gift and the superpower and like start a side business and go paint cars, and like that alone, like people would be dropping quite a bit of money. I could do a number of like I could do just a bunch. I think I could be like a regular business. I could even quit my job if I wanted.
You definitely could.
So,
You absolutely could. I think I might have even underestimated how powerful that one is.
that alone is just like, but it wouldn't like. If the car had a little key scrape, it wouldn't be a fresh right. If it were keyed, let's say the car was keyed.
No, you couldn't
and
do
I
that.
painted the car. It's still keyed. Whereas you get a real paint job, like they take care of all that. They buff stuff and all that. So
Right.
but even then, like paint jobs cost like $3,000, whereas I could charge $500 or something. And
Yep.
So anyway, I would choose, and I think I would choose it. I think I would go Microsoft Paint and the Inverse Bloodhound, and I think I'd walk away. I'm
All right.
gambling
Nice.
on it not being that bad, the smell thing. And
Nice.
I just think I'd be okay.
I'm glad to see you actually take the bargain.
Well, because let's say a lot of times like I'm just so scared that I'm not estimating this appropriately, and like I'm gonna be haunted by whatever it is, some
Yeah.
music or
Right.
some staring,
Staring
ghost
thing
some-
or
and
anything.
and it actually does deep psychological damage. But like smells, let's say I've underestimated it and I'm inconvenienced a lot more. I'm not psychologically harmed. I'm just like frustrated that I'm unaware of some smells. That's not gonna like haunt me in my sleep. So
I
whereas
think-
I think things that like are grating on your nerves or potentially like that's dangerous stuff for
Yeah.
your well-being.
I think I agree mostly with your reasoning. I would choose MS Paint IRL, but I think I would actually choose Slow Startup over Inverse Bloodhound. That might be an unwise decision, but when I think about it, how many devices do I turn on in a day? Honestly, not that many. Like, I mean, maybe less than 10. Lay out on my toothbrush, but whatever. I could press the button and wait for it to turn on. That's not a huge deal. My TV, I do turn on a few times during the day, but a minute, okay, whatever. Microwave or oven or something, okay, 1 minute. There's not anything that I think would inconvenience me to the point of like significantly impacting my life. I might have to endure the startup of, I don't know, 15 minutes a day, and I could still do other things while they're starting up. So I don't think that's a huge price to pay. And then for the MSP and IRL, we've already kind of discussed the benefits of that. I think I would be tempted a lot more by the supervillain approach. Like, when you could change the color of anything, it would be very tempting to actually do that. And it would be such a mystery to people, right? To go out
Yeah.
and see that, like, whatever it was, I changed it to ridiculous colors. You could make some really hilarious stuff that way.
It is really funny to think about, like, confusing people's personal property.
And, like, you could make a lot of things that otherwise are cookie cutter more unique for yourself. I mean, this is really minor, but, like, bits and pieces on your shoes. One complaint I have about shoes is that there was this period they went through. I don't know if they're still in this period, where they just put a lot of neon on the shoes, and it was hard to find shoes that weren't just super ugly and neon. And I could fix them all and make them back to the way they should be, black. And
Gray.
yeah,
whatever.
normal looking shoe colors that don't say, "Look at my feet! Look at my feet!" I could fix them all. I could even fix other people's ugly shoes. So, like, there's a lot of power there. And the smells.
Other people's ugly skin colors.
Oh yeah, if I could fix that. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on that topic too much, but there probably is a market for that. Like, people unhappy with that aspect of themselves, and you know what? I can fix that for you. Like, it doesn't change the other morphological
I think
characteristics.
That's an ethical dilemma. Do you just say, yeah, you want that? You want to be, like, more tan, or you want to be lighter skinned, or whatever it is, and just say,
Right.
okay, like, and are you sort of playing into something bad?
You're erasing their identity.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
or more like you're just helping them, like, yeah, I don't know.
It's just
Think
cosmetic.
something-
It's no more or less momentous than dyeing your hair. It's just that, like, we would have skin dyeing if we had the technology that would allow us to do it conveniently and believably, but we don't. So we don't. It's
Yeah, but
hair.
I mean, I just think it's like boob jobs. Like, so there's this ideal image of a woman.
But
with
boob
this
jobs
picture
are invasive and they look objectively worse. So, and they're like, the actual technology involved in a boob job is kind of like, it's weird, right? Like, you just cram this silicone
balloon
thing in there.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the technology has improved over the years, but it's still
I guess more
weird.
philosophically, though, what they're doing is, like, there's an image that is both. I mean, a mixture of societal and, like, natural, like, standards, and then they are willing to. They just are. This just makes them unhappy that they're not there, and so instead of working on being happier and fulfilled with who they are, they just want to morph themselves to look more like the societal and natural standard. And so I could see philosophically there just being some moral issues about, like, just saying, yeah, I'll just play into that, like, I'll reinforce that without pausing, at least, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
But that's. I also think your decision, the slow, you were starting to convince me about the slow startup not being a big deal, because I was kind of operating like, we live in a technical society with lots of machinery or items that need to be turned on, but maybe you're right. But it's not a very future-proof.
It's not.
Decision.
Yeah, it's risky. It's risky, but I figure, like, things are only going to get more efficient. Power is only going to get more abundant. Like, we may have more things like our phones that just stay on all the time. Smells, that's not going away, right? And who knows what the future. We'll have all kinds of hover smells that are just, like, amazing in the future that I'll really want to smell, and I want to be there for that.
You get annoyed by so many smells. You
I do.
Smell like piss.
You're right. Candles, coffee, all those pickles, all those disgusting things. People's
like,
perfumes and colognes. I wouldn't have to smell any of that garbage. Like, give me some of that gasoline and GameCube games, though. Like, and
The idea of
asphalt.
you putting GameCube games in it and then you can't go find that smell anyway.
Oh
Like,
no,
if
tragic.
if you were to find one, it would smell to you, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't have any particular love for my sense of smell, over and above the others, but I am just worried about losing something permanently and losing all those smells. Yeah, that I would, that
Well, you're
concerns
taking.
me a little.
I get what you're saying is inverse bloodhound is removing something you have, and then slow startup is introducing a small barrier.
Yeah.
And you're willing to say like I can introduce some of that, but like I don't want to take away from like
I mean,
who I
you could
am.
argue that we have limited time, and time is the most valuable thing we have, and slow startup removes some of that. You can make that argument, and that's true. I just think we waste a lot of time already, and that's not exactly a justification, but it's
And I
not.
don't think you'd sit there when you click on for your toothbrush. I
Yeah,
don't think you would
just look
just
at it.
stare up. You could do something else.
I
Like
would.
you can do something else. So you might just alter your routine, and when you get out of you click it, and then you go to the restroom or whatever.
Right.
So that you can
Now,
pee.
I could see it being annoying, like if I'm, crunched for time in some circumstance, and like I run out to my car and I have to,
How
sit
often
and
are you
wait on it.
crunched for time?
Not often, not very often.
Yeah, I figured not working from home and stuff that would just not be as.
But I mean,
I'm
it
crunched for
does
time in the
happen.
morning often, but not
It
that often.
it does happen, not that often, and like really when I have to deal with other human beings, which is not a preferred situation, but when I do, that's usually when I'm pressed for time. They tell me they'll be ready at this time, or they just tell me, oh, I forgot, I need you to do this quickly. They do those kinds of things, and if I'm having to wait a minute for everything to happen, then that could be annoying, but not that bad. Not enough to justify me not, painting people's homes, when they're asleep, or painting their cars when they cut me off in traffic or something, and painting them. Or I can do patterns too, so I could put all kinds of stuff on their vehicles.
I think too, like, just to get a little bit granular in this power, you said like if I put my hand on a parking space, like a handicap paint on, like if I want to paint that the
The
white
line.
dude, the white dude
Oh yeah.
specifically that's sitting in the wheelchair or whatever, like I click it, or I put my palm there, and it paints the line whatever color I
Yeah.
want it to.
Yeah.
Like because I'm looking, I can see outside to a parking lot right now, and I can see the white lines of the road, and they're it's faded paint, and there's cracks all in it, and I was thinking this would be ridiculous if I wanted to paint that one little parking spot line, like it wouldn't work. It would just paint, and I'd have to spend all day. It would literally be faster to paint it, and that's not what you mean. So it just
Yeah.
means that there's a line there. I click it and it paints it, or I put my palm there and it paints it.
Yeah,
By the way,
obviously.
how does the selection go? How does it, like, am I thinking of the color,
Yeah.
or do I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just envisioning it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna say that works. Just think of it. You don't have to like chant it, or hold the color in your hand or anything like that. Just think about it.
That's well. I'm just. I just mean that like, colors are visual, so we can imagine colors, but man, there's something weird about like it might not look exactly like you think, or you might have.
Okay, so how about this? You put your hand on it, and then you think it, and the thing changes color in real time. And when you remove your hand, it's final. How about that?
Yeah, so you can kind of like, just like you can do that in Microsoft Paint with a hue,
Yeah.
like the color wheel or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not a wheel, I don't think. It has a bunch of numbers, like so we could
You could do
write down those
RGB
numbers
colors,
and-
right? You
Yeah.
could do that if you wanted to.
I like it. Yeah.
How?
Are you choosing it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely taking it. I'm definitely taking it. MS Paint IRL slow startup. It's mine. Got it. How long have we been going? We're not quite 45 minutes.
3 minutes.
All right, man. Let's do it. Let's do this. I have a question for
Do you
you.
want to do a whole nother topic?
We're just do it. We'll do it quick. I want to get it in here. I want to know, because we haven't talked about this really.
Okay.
Do aliens exist? Do they exist? What do you think?
I've listened to enough intellectuals talk about it and explain some mathematical probabilities that the answer seems to be yes. And so like I basically in just mimicking what I hear about smart people, I say yes, and it feels provocative and it feels like the smart thing because like it feels like really dumb people say yes, and then it feels like just kind of regular people say nah. Like I look at the world, I don't see aliens, there are no aliens, that's just a bunch of dumb people. And then the really smart people say yes, and so I want to identify with them and I say yes. But if you were to measure where I catalog it in my brain, I put it along with ghosts. Like so it's a paradox. I'm like full of shit. Like I say I believe that aliens exist, but like I don't really. Do you know what I mean? Like I emotionally don't.
Yeah, you're just posturing. You're just You're just an alien poser. Just an alien poser.
Does that make any sense to you? That, like,
no, that makes total sense.
Undoubtedly they exist, and yeah, that just and
I mean,
it's kind of neat to kind of go. Yeah, I'm among an elite crowd who's willing to say something kind of uncomfortable and outrageous and wild. That like, yeah, they do exist.
Isn't this sort of the Dunning-Kruger effect? Like that you're kind of sitting on the top of that hill, like
very much so. Yes, like where I think I sound cool and like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the top of the hill.
I gave it some thought, and yeah, I'm familiar with the probabilistic arguments that people make, but I still say no. I think no. And I'll give you some of my reasons briefly.
You're one step further
than the smart people.
Giants that say that they.
Yeah, right. Well, here's why I say that. So, firstly, just because we can imagine a thing doesn't make that thing real. No person has ever seen an alien that we know of and been able to prove it. So we have people who say they saw some things, some flying doohickeys or some whatchamacallits, but no one has ever been able to prove what it was, and certainly not that it was an alien.
Oh yeah, like I don't believe they've landed or anything like that.
Sure,
either, by the way.
Right? Just that they're out there somewhere in the vast expanse of the universe. So on that point, the main argument in favor of aliens existing is okay. The universe is gigantic. It's mind-bogglingly huge, and it would be silly to think that we are the only living intelligent creatures on Earth when there are other stars similar to our sun, there are other planets in habitable zones, and based on our understanding of science, it seems that some combination of chemicals could come together and create life somewhere else. And yeah, I don't necessarily debate any of that, that it's possible. However, again, just because we can imagine it and just because it's possible doesn't mean that it's true. So, for example, like, imagine how many ants there are on Earth. How many ants do you think there are on Earth?
Oh man, at least like 100.
Right, and so out of that gigantic number of ants, surely one of them understands human speech, right? Like, that's a huge number of ants, and
I see your analogy. It's pretty good.
And one should be able to understand human speech. We might not know which one it is. We don't know which one it is, but like, there's got to be one ant out there that can understand when I say, hey ant, stop digging that hole, whatever, and it'd be like, okay. No, it doesn't, right? Like, there isn't an ant that can understand human speech, or like, there's not one snowflake out of all the snowflakes that looks like a swastika. Like, okay, I mean, is there? Probably not. Is there one grain of sand whose inside is made of chocolate?
That one seems more probable than the ant one, though. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it seems more probable than an ant understanding human speech, but it's just like, I don't think that is the case. And so, like, just because something is possible, and we have zero evidence for it. So I just tend, like, again, do I know for sure that aliens don't exist? No. But when it comes, like, show me the proof, right? Show me the proof. I fall on the side of no until we have some evidence that there is. We haven't found...
Practically don't exist. They very much practically, like, don't exist.
Yes.
And if that's what you mean, kind of like we don't... For all practical reasons and all, like, everything, all the speculation and the mathematical argument is just sort of, like, it's exciting, but, like, that's why I say I catalog it with, like, ghosts and,
I mean, people like I don't.
I really do.
Yeah, I don't buy them. People say it's a mathematical argument, but there's literally zero evidence on the pro alien side. All there is kind of circumstantial evidence saying that we exist, therefore maybe some other people like us exist or some other beings like us exist. And like I'm not seeing the mathematical proof that they exist. Is simply probabilistic. And so like yeah, do ants exist? Yes. Do things that understand human speech exist? Yes, but that doesn't you can't just combine those, right?
I'm trying to like I never heard that analogy and I like it, so it does help clarify your argument. So it's useful that way. But I do suspect it's a faulty analogy, and I don't. Let me try and. It's just that Earth has a set, like has some set rules, and we function this way. So like, all ants are going to behave reasonably the same, and so they're under these conditions and all. So, but now like the argument about the mathematical argument is like there's so many wildly different conditions and all. So it just starts to be so different. The scenario is so different that the analogy starts to lose its convincing nature to me. Because yeah, with this grab bag of chemicals or of Earth, like, and then you have ants. Like, there's just not ants don't speak English or don't understand it, so they never will, and I'm comfortable with that.
So let me try to defend my analogy a little bit. It's just something I thought up, so I didn't put huge amounts of thought into it.
Because,
however,
yeah,
let's compare the complexity of these two things, because I see what you're saying, and one reason I chose this analogy is because yeah, we understand ants pretty well. They have a relatively simple biology, and we can tell that they shouldn't have the physiological ability to understand human speech. But like the complexity of an ant is much lower than the complexity of all of life evolving and generating an alien being, right? And so like to suppose that an ant can understand human speech. If I said, you know what, I think there is an ant that can understand human speech, that would be a more believable stance than I believe alien life evolved in a totally different place and reached this level of complexity that, as far as we know, our planet is the only thing that has that. Does that make sense? Like the level of complexity involved in these two separate things are very different.
Yeah,
People are supposing.
In some ways, you're saying that like an ant can understand in terms of like how complex. Yeah, I think I understand.
Right.
I guess I just. Well.
Here's another.
Also, we should have defined alien a little bit, but we were obviously talking about intelligent life and not like a plant somewhere.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. People could debate that, I suppose. Here's another argument that's more popular, the Fermi paradox, which you may have heard of. So it also responds to this kind of probabilistic argument. It says that, okay, so the probability, it grants the point that because the universe is so huge and there are so many stars and so many planets that could conceivably exist within the habitable ranges, that it's very likely that life exists out there. So it grants that. And there are many of these planets, supposed planets, that are much older than Earth. They've been around for, hundreds of thousands or millions of billions of years. Pick your astronomical time scale. They've been around for so long that if life did exist, then that life would have evolved to become very advanced, much more advanced than we are. We've only been around for however many tens of thousands of years that we've been relatively intelligent, and these other planets would have had much more intelligent life,
super
advanced life forms. And if those planets develop super advanced life forms, then they should have been able to make a mark on the universe that we could observe or find us, right? And there should have been some sort of
big leap, but yeah.
I agree. I think it is a little bit of a leap, but that's the way the argument goes. And so if there are all of these life forms out there that are so much more advanced than us because of how long they've been in the universe, why haven't we interacted with them at all? Like, where are they? And that's the paradox, right? Because we would suppose that surely they exist, but if they're so advanced, why haven't we seen them? And it's a good question. I agree.
It
There's
is
a
a good
there's a
question.
there's a little bit of a leap in there, but
The biggest leap to me is that we are supposing that if you became enlightened, you would then make marks and contact. That's a huge leap for
well,
me. Like,
but think about our own development, right? Like we became advanced and we sent probes out. Like by now, the Voyager is past the bounds of the solar system. Let's not even count the light and radio waves that we've been sending out into the
yeah, but
galaxy.
I'm thinking of like enlightened. I almost think like as a society we're hilariously far from being enlightened. We're like children societally, but like there are enlightened Dalai Lama type people, and like these people, enlightened people actually get really peaceful, and they kind of they seem to talk a lot about oneness and letting things unfold. This is what no, I know this sounds silly, but like let's just imagine for a second you truly do evolve and you go through so many technological advancements, but then like you get to some like ultra high enlightenment, and then it's like you become some you understand you actually just there's a peacefulness about the universe and oneness with the energy, and then maybe the aliens are like all around us, and we're just primitive and we don't
Yeah.
understand it. Or I know I'm getting a little bit silly, but I do want to back up and be like, well, what if they are so uh, maybe they know and have learned through experimentation that if you contact too early, like bad things happen, or we're not ready, and so they're either waiting, or because like we're just so infantile, or maybe maybe they're like we know they're so infantile, like kind of make the God argument, like they are trying to communicate us. They are God, like God as we know God is
Is
aliens
aliens.
trying to make sense of like let me give you some purpose and tell you about this higher like enlightenment. I guess that's what religion really is. So they're like gonna like coach us toward enlightenment, but we're not ready to really see him
Yeah. I mean, that's
God, and
been the
so
premise of who knows how many sci-fi
that's
stories.
and like probably Scientology and stuff too. The aliens kind of like it's aliens, you know, it's aliens. It's like, and I don't appreciate that twist, like to get apart from like actual possible intelligent life versus like our media representations of it. Like, I really don't like when a twist aliens does not sit well with me.
Hmm.
And I think most people would say that, right? Like,
Yeah.
surprise, it was aliens, and
Well,
that's why all
so
the mystery things that didn't make sense, we don't have to make sense of. It's kind of lazy writing.
right. Well, that kind of feeds into my skepticism a little bit because here's another question that I was going to ask you. Like, are aliens just the demons and angels of a secular society? Like, there are these things that we place our mystery and our unknown thoughts and our excitement and speculation and all of these, we place all of those emotions on this idea that we've never seen or experienced, and they're aliens. And demons and angels obviously played a large part in history before that, whereas aliens were maybe a little bit less so. And so aliens are just kind of the trendy mystery being now.
Um, yeah, I could see that. Interestingly, I think that the difference would be there's something neutral about aliens. You know, when you say a demon or an angel, like even just she's an angel, you mean there's just heavy connotations with good and evil
You
and
don't say, "Oh man, look at that, she's an alien." You don't say that.
alien just means for like unknown, right? Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
that is what the
And
word
so
means.
and it's a more neutral, and maybe that fits with what the secular world is at least it's espousing, that it's not like
Hmm.
it's at least attempting not to be like religious is like yeah good and evil and this is what it is, and secular is like like I don't know if there even is good and evil. It's like we don't know. I don't know, maybe.
Hmm.
uh, so so that actually fits. It tracks even like a degree deeper. Just saying, like, yeah, so then, if you were gonna say the mythical beast of religion is representations of good and evil, whereas the mythical beast of secularism is
This
the alien, which
neutral
is just a
alien.
neutral. Like, it can be what you want. Do you want it to be evil? Like, yeah, sure. Then it's evil and it takes over the world, or it's this kind, gentle thing wanting to save you.
Mm.
So that's it. That's interesting.
Well, unfortunately, we can't talk about it
Hard stop.
anymore. So we are quitting
I like
quitting
it.
quitting the
We got to
discussion.
hold to it, or else it's pointless. So yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was good. I think it went well. I liked the pacing. We can polish it a little bit. I think as we get more comfortable with it. But I think we did a good job, a fine job. Good job
All
today,
right.
sir.
All right.
Do 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 do.
Bye
Third
bye.
space.